Hello and welcome to another episode of No More Bits. This is a companion podcast to Little Bits and Pieces. I am your host, Matt Walker, and this is where we go in depth on improv topics that we don't go in depth on our main podcast. So today we're talking about episode 6, boundaries. Boundaries are an important part of improv comedy. It's unique to improv comedy because in improv, we're being extemporaneous, we're coming up with this stuff on the spot. So if we're doing that with a scene partner, I shouldn't say we should, but it's important to know someone's boundaries in that scenario. Let me walk you through a little scenario here. I come out in a scene, I high five my scene partner, we high five, and then they shut down. Right. And then I remember, oh, that's right. They said, don't touch them. That's on me. I ruined that scene. They didn't. They told me about that. I forgot about it, but they told me. So that's on me. I ruined that scene. Just because I don't have a boundary doesn't mean other people don't, right? I am pretty boundaryless, but I also don't have a lot of things in my life that carry a lot of weight for me. I'm not emotionally attached to a ton of things. This sounds like I'm a sociopath. No, but it's true. Like, I don't see a lot of things as off limits. I don't see a lot of things as something to be taken care of with me. So I don't perceive a lot of boundaries until they're stated, right? And that's a point of privilege for me on stage. I don't have to worry about this stuff. But I have to understand that other people have boundaries. There are kind of like 3 types of boundaries that I like to categorize. There's mental boundaries, and that's like, what if bringing something up or doing something triggers PTSD or something of that nature. There's physical boundaries, like I said, touching, high fives. I have a bad knee. Don't jump on it. Don't make me kneel. I don't sit and stand quickly, so don't make me do that. And then there's content boundaries, things that are off limits for me. Say I'm a Scientologist and I say, like, look, we're not doing any scenes about Lord Zeno. Sorry. If there is a scene about Lord Zeno, I'm shutting down. Because I can't. Maybe whatever. So those are the 3 types, right? And they manifest in different ways. The main thing here is those are boundaries that people need to express in order for them not to be crossed, right? So how do we do this as improvisers? How do we make sure we don't mess up? Well, you will. We will mess up. It will happen. It's inevitable. What we can do is do our best. So typically with an ensemble or a cast or anything like that, at the beginning of rehearsals or practices or get-togethers, it's great to start off with a simple check-in, right? How are you? What was your day like? And do you have any boundaries? It's important. It's important to ask that because sometimes people won't know they have boundaries until they're given space, right? If you say, do you have any boundaries? And someone goes, well, I did trip really hard and my ankle is clicking, so I guess I don't want to do a lot of stuff on my ankle, right? But there is a sort of pull to, no, I'm fine. Everything's good. Whatever. It's inevitable. In our American cultures, it's like, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm doing good. Right? But really, when someone goes, are you doing good? And they go, no. I just described myself. No, but it's important to make space for these things because if you make space, the space could get filled. If it doesn't get filled, hey, great. Everybody's great, and they don't have to worry about anything. Two things about boundaries, though. They will get crossed. So if you have pretty strict boundaries, it's important to work with and be around people who share those boundaries and or are respectful of those boundaries. I've been on a lot of different ensembles and groups, and inevitably you will find people that want to combat your specifically content boundaries. They say, no, we are going to talk about that tonight, and I'm going to make sure we do, right? And that's not fun. That's not fun for you. That's not fun for them, unless they're like crazy, because what they don't realize is if they cross a boundary, they run the risk of ruining the show, right? Because you're expressing that boundary, you're telling them, hey, I might not do as well if you do this, right? And they're going, well, I'm doing it anyway. That's the sign of A, bad improviser, and B, a mean person, right? And if you're struggling with accepting boundaries of other people, I would frame it in a way in your brain of this could ruin the show for me and them, right? This isn't a like, oh, I'm just bringing this up because I'm like a prima donna or something. No, I'm bringing this up because it could ruin our entire set, right? It could ruin scenes. It could ruin an ensemble. It can ruin this thing. So do your best not to cross boundaries. But also understand that if you do, you have to address it. Look, I'm really sorry. I totally forgot about your knee. That thing that we normally do, I just got stuck in that cycle of doing that, and I'm so sorry. And we have to be comfortable with, quote unquote, enforcing our boundaries. Saying like, hey, I told you about my knee. Please, why did you do that? Oh my God. And then if we come to a point where it's mutually agreed upon, right? Because what happened there is it was heard, but it wasn't necessarily like put in their brains. So it's just an ongoing thing. And it's harder with, how are you feeling today boundaries versus like, this is something that I never do, right? I doubt anybody jokes with Mel Brooks about the Holocaust because he has explicitly said that that is a boundary of his. All right, well, that's been another episode of No More Bits. See you next time. The show you've just listened to is a part of the Podfix Network. To listen to other shows on the network, head over to podfixnetwork.com. Follow on Twitter @Podfix and join the Podfix Nation at facebook.com/Podfix.